Going on, everybody? It's your favorite YouTuber, Austin Holloman, and we are back with another video about the social studies of me going around the world doing the social experiments, some things that I've learned compared to some things that I used to think before when I first started. So if you have not already, give the video a like and subscribe. And if you guys don't know me, I'm Austin Holloman. I'm a world traveler. I've traveled to 24 countries. I've been in 24 countries now in about 45 cities on 4 different continents. The only continent I haven't been to, the only continent I haven't been to is Australia. So 5 continents, right? And today we're going to talk about, is it really bad for a woman in another country to speak English where English is not they either were an English colony or English is not the primary language. For example, a place like Colombia, Brazil, Peru, Thailand, Vietnam, is it really a disadvantage to you as an American or someone else from an English speaking country that is considered first world to date a woman in one of those countries or to even deal with a woman? Is it actually a red flag like you think it is? Now, I bring this up because whenever I first started, I said English is a turnoff. If I meet a foreign woman that speaks English, I don't even want to talk to her. It's a red flag. She sounds too American. I'm going to say this. The reason why people think that speaking English is bad for a foreign woman is because it's easier for them to digest American culture. They probably can be influenced by American women or somebody else that could teach them the wrong things whenever they come to their country. And it's a sign that maybe they've dealt with a lot of gringos before in their country. Now, of course, this is not always true because if you go to Kenya, whether if they have an American or a British guy that they've met before or not, everybody in Kenya speaks English because it was an English colony. And same thing with Tanzania. Not everybody, but a good amount of people speak English. You won't have days where you run into more than 50% of the people that speak English. When I was in Tanzania, I think maybe 20%, 30% of the people I've met did not speak English. Like, it's very common for people to speak English there as well in places like Zambia and Uganda and even Rwanda, even though that was a francophone country. Places like Ghana. So, of course, it's not always going to be a red flag because some of these places people just speak English. But I do understand that because I'm going to tell you guys about a couple bad experiences. For example, I met a woman from Rwanda, a young lady, right? And she knew more about what's the name of that show? It's the one in New York. See, I don't even remember. That's how much I don't give a shit about American culture. I don't even remember. The Breakfast Club. She knew about more American rappers, about more American drama. She was watching a Breakfast. I haven't watched a Breakfast Club in years. Like, I don't think even when I was in the States, I didn't watch that. And she knew more about that than I did. When I would say, "Oh, you're from Rwanda," like, show me some Rwanda music. She couldn't, but she could show me music from the States that I didn't even know. She's like, "So what kind of music do you like?" I like whatever music y'all listen to. I'm in a new country. I'm from America. I don't like the culture in America. When I'm in Kenya, I want to hear y'all's Afro beats, or I want to hear some Afro beats from Africa. When I'm in Latin America, I want to listen to y'all's Brazilian funk or salsa or samba music, reggaeton, something that I don't even if it's degenerate, because they have degenerate music in these countries as well. But I don't want to hear American music. I left that place for a reason, right? And there was another woman that you guys know that I was hanging out with in Thailand. She was fluent in English to the point where she would, talk to you like, "Look at this shit." Like something that only an American would say. Like only somebody that's very fluent in English talks like that. Like when I know Portuguese, but I'm not fluent enough to the point where I'm just saying curse words and sentences like the way how they do. Like, oh, fuck that bitch. Like she would say that. I don't say that in Portuguese because I I haven't been. I know a lot of Portuguese, but I'm not that invested to the point where I know those types of things. But it seems that a lot of foreigners, America does have a huge influence on the world. So I don't know why people think this. People think that they can curse people out. I've hung out with dudes in other countries that curse people out and saying "f you" or calling women bitches and stuff like that. Let me tell you this. If it's one, people don't know English around the world, but one thing they do know is the explicit words. And that's because of music. That's because of the politics that they may see on TV, like when Donald Trump used to say crazy stuff like that, or even whenever they watch movies. You know, they watch American movies in every country that you go to. They know about American culture. Now, all of them don't know English, but you better believe they do know about American culture. So those types of experiences, you running into women that know about the Breakfast Club, it kind of makes you think like, what else does she know? She follows Rick Ross on Instagram. I want the stuff Rick Ross talks about, which is pretty much nothing. What is her mentality? That's what a lot of us think whenever we see women that speak English in another country. Like, how, especially if she's black, right? Because then we're going to think, how much similar is she to a black American woman, you know? And I'm not specifying that black American women are the only ones that are a problem, because they're not. Now, they probably might be one of the worst ones, you know, but it's white American women, it's Asian women. Asian women, even in the States, get on my nerves too with their mentality and the way how they speak. American chicks they're a turnoff. And as dudes that travel, most of the men I met want to get away from that. That doesn't mean I'm not open to dating an American chick, but pretty much it never fails, right? I've tried many times outside the States. Every time I try to date an American chick, I'm like, yeah, it's no different. Even outside the country, they're no different. It never fails. I have American women that are friends, but we could just be friends. Like, we don't need to be romantic or sexual with anything, because it never fails. It's always some bullshit, and it just makes more sense to date the locals wherever I'm at, because it's a different experience. Now, some women that do speak English that I've had many good experiences with women that speak English in places like Peru, in places like Paraguay, in places like Chile, in places like Uruguay, in places like Brazil, in places like Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, in places like Rwanda. Pretty much damn near everywhere I've been to, I've met women that speak English, and I've had a good time with them. All of them, they may have been aware, or they may have, picked up some things like saying I met women in Africa that say the N-word, and I had to tell them, like, hey, I know you're saying that because I'm a black American and you think that, oh, that's how we talk, because that is how we talk. You guys have heard me say that word. But I don't want to hang around with women that say that comes off as masculine to us. And the reason that, even though they speak English and they picked up those little habits, they're not corrupt enough to the point where they won't. Because tell a black American chick to stop using the N-word, you'll probably get cussed out. But they were like, oh, the African chick's like, oh, I'm sorry. And I never heard it from them again, at least not around me. And they take it, they're still cooperative enough to listen to what a man thinks, that, or what a man's expectations, what he likes. So just because a chick knows English does not mean that she's fully corrupted. You guys remember the restaurant girl in Peru? She spoke English. The American men loved her. Why? Because she showed that, yes, they can still speak English and still be very feminine, nice, and attentive. Look at Andre Love Crossing Borders. His wife speaks English, pretty good English, right? A lot of you guys look up to Andre, but he has an English-speaking wife, so it doesn't always mean that she's dealt with a lot of gringos before. I mean, I don't know the details of Andre's wife, but from what I can see, she's very good to him, and she's very feminine, and she doesn't fit this stereotype that we've had that, oh, American chicks are all just, I mean, not American chicks, English-speaking chicks are all just corrupt. It also could mean that the woman is very educated. You know, if they're in Latin America and they've had the opportunity to take English classes, it could mean that they came from a better background. So I'm saying all that to say, you probably want to find a woman, like, for example, there's a woman in Sao Paulo that we really like each other. She speaks enough English she's watched my YouTube videos. She speaks enough English to watch and understand what I'm saying in my videos, and to the point where on our first date, because she had did her little research on me. That's why I tell you guys, chicks that get turned off by my videos aren't really that fucking interested anyway. But she watched all my videos and actually brought it up, and not even in a disgusted or turned off way. She was like, so why do you feel that way about American women? But I didn't dive into that topic, because you can turn any chick off if you just start bashing the women of your culture, or any woman. But it's about finding a woman that can speak English, that is headstrong enough to not be corrupted and to realize that it's bullshit. Because I've met women that speak English, and when they do ask me, like, oh, why don't you like dating in your country? And I'll just keep it brief, and I'll bring up something, and like, wow, those are really your expectations that you have there? Which shows that, okay, if they hear it, because they even say, yeah, I watch some videos of American chicks and I just think some of the stuff that they say is crazy and some of the stuff that they expect is crazy. So it's more so about how headstrong is that woman that you're dealing with that learned English. And are you willing to take the time to vet to find out if that English has or will corrupt her at some point? It is a risk, but honestly, I've been doing it just fine with no problem. I've met women in Portugal, a first world country, that women that knew English, and it was just fine. Maybe there were some similarities depending on what country they were from, because there were a lot of foreigners that I met there as well. But it wasn't an issue where I was like, oh, I don't want to talk to women that know English, right? So it's okay, in my opinion, to date women that know English as long as you vet them. You have to be able to realize, okay, they know English, but what type of English do they know? Or they walk, like, for example, you guys remember the girl in Thailand? She was walking around, with explicit language. And, how often do they curse like Austin Holloman? Austin Holloman curses a lot because I'm American, and foreigners even know as Americans, we do a lot of cursing. So, and I don't really plan on stopping it. I enjoy cursing. I mean, it has a time and a place, but you guys know what I mean. So anyway, is she using that type of language, or is she just speaking English just to speak to you? Or does she always, because I met some women that they couldn't speak English, but when they would make a mistake, they would say, fuck. And I'm like, that's a red flag. You don't know English, but you choose to use the explicit language whenever you do. Like, I know some curse words in Portuguese, but when I make mistakes, I don't say merda. I don't say that. I speak in my own language. I would say to my own language. Which shows you the mentality I have whenever I learn these other languages. So the benefits to knowing a woman that speaks English is, number one, it's going to be easier for you to communicate with her. If you're trying to learn Spanish or Portuguese, it's going to be easier for you to learn with her because she understands you versus neither one of y'all understand each other. Y'all just trying to wing it along the way. If she needs to meet your family, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. If she knows more than hello and goodbye and how are you, it makes it a lot easier if she can actually communicate with your family. That's if you're looking for something long term. I'm telling you that from experience. And there's less misunderstanding. Like, for example, I'm very sarcastic. You guys know that. I will make an extremely sarcastic joke with you with a straight face. And foreigners might not understand that. But if she understands English, she might understand that, hey, when Americans over exaggerate bullshit, they're just joking. So there are some benefits. It's not always a deal breaker. It's like a yellow light. There's red lights, there's green lights, and there's yellow lights. In my opinion, if they only know Portuguese or their native language, it's a green light. That doesn't mean it can't be corrupted, but it's still a green light. If they know English, just vet. It's a yellow light. Just pay attention closely. And if they know too much, like they're watching a Breakfast Club and they're saying the N-word and they're following certain degenerate celebrities and they're listening to drill music, that's an absolute fucking red light. Because I wouldn't even date an American chick that's listening to degenerate music like that. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are interested in dating abroad and you want me to give you one-on-one coaching, there will be a booking link below. It will be a 12-month program, and it's not a $50 product. It's not a $1,000 product. This is something that'll be a recurring expense or paid up front. And it is for people that are already financially well off but want to learn more from somebody that has traveled and dated all around the world about things to look for. Or if you don't have that much money, there will be a subscription service coming soon where you guys will get a blueprint on how I did exactly what I did, and you will get a community, and you will get once a week group call Q&As, but you won't get the same one-on-one coaching experience with me. So it depends on how much you value speaking with me personally. Leave a like, and if you found that informative or entertaining for whatever reason, you can tip me with a super thanks below, or you can cash app at $ Austin Holloman, PayPal AustinHolloman@gmail.com. Leave a comment on what you thought and what you'd like to see next.